Okay, in this particular example, we're going to talk about some of the practicalities of photogrammetry, some of the stuff that we also do here at UAVS. All right, so this particular area, uh, New Year's Eve 2020, a tornado come through here in Crawford County. All right, so, and just so happens this particular fella who lives here is a forester. All right, so he's got a pretty good sized tract of land. And so just off the rip, we're going to kind of revisit the difference between Google Earth Pro, other GIS applications, as far as the resolution. Um, so, all right. Obviously, you know, it'll take a rocket scientist to figure out the difference in that. All right. And so anyhow, so what we did, we actually used he sustained catastrophic damage as far as a lot of the timber on his property. So what we come in, and we actually also use software that uses AI. And what we was wanting to do is actually get a tree count, okay? Of so that way, whenever he contacts his insurance agent or FEMA comes in to declare if it's you know, this particular area meets the eligibility requirements for assistance. Um, you know, we got some factual data going on right here. All right, so and here we go. All right, so what we concluded was actually the tornado may have been two. All right, so in this area, we've got some sporadic damage. So we see this tree right here, see this one right here. But it's pretty ambiguous. So it's kind of hit and miss. So I think this one stirred up, it didn't take hold. However, this one was actually come out by the road and continued on over through here. Is where it picked up speed and was actually confirmed as an EF0 tornado. All right. So what we'll do is, so obviously we know that we can take measurements. So I'm just going to use this one tree right here. Okay. So this one piece of timber is 37 foot. So that's pretty useful by itself. But when you've got this type of damage on the scale, it's pretty difficult to try to figure out, you know, an exact count or an accurate, um, you know, piece of data that we can turn over to somebody, whether it's to meet the requirements for some type of aid or we need to get a number, an exact number on the loss. Okay, so that's where we also come in, and you can see we've actually annotated some of these areas right here, which isn't relevant to the tree. So we're going to talk about that. All right, so each blue line indicates a piece of timber that meets the requirements as for one tree, opposed to, you know, some brush or something of that nature. Okay, so, and that is a pretty useful tool. To where we can actually get a visual representation of the loss of timber, which is a pretty good bit. So, all right, and then secondly, we can actually get more precise measurements. But yeah, we use AI software, and then we come in, we do a little fact checking. I think that's a hot term right now. And then we can also create the point cloud and scaled model with the same thing. So that's a lot of counting there. And to get out, to hire somebody to walk through a disaster area, something of that nature, it'll clear up here. It's coming off the cloud. It's pretty substantial. And time consuming as far as physically walking, counting, things of that nature, to try to get that number, that data that we're looking for. And secondly, all right, so the more that you factor in whether it be an appraiser or agent or something like that, there's a lot of mitigation as far as the liability and the risk going up when you introduce factors like that. So we're going to let this thing load up here. So once again, we're just not taking pretty pictures or videos, things of that nature. We are producing accurate, tangible data that goes far beyond just a nice little picture or a little video with some music behind it. We're more on the industrial commercial side of things. And that's pretty important stuff. So the value in that is severalfold. The crazy thing is, this guy actually has some cameras outside of his house when it comes through. And I'm not sure who built this house, but whenever I build my next one, I'm going to call this guy. All right. Just can't really see it too good right here in this 3D model. But right here in this little area are two lamps. Just going to zoom in a little bit better. I'm going to set the little, inspect it here, so what we got going on. Okay, here we go. Yeah, so this lamp and this one was torn off. He actually showed me a video. You see them kind of sideways right here. But anyways, you actually have to watch the video. It's pretty cool. But once again, that's just some of the things that we offer here at UAVS. Actionable data is kind of what we call it. But just in this example right here, we're just trying to get a tree count. It's quite different than a motor vehicle collision. However, the many different applications are pretty up there in numbers. Kind of what can we not do, and that's just the fact of the matter. And then secondly, just to close this thing out here, is this guy's priority was trying to get this stuff cleaned up, and so once they do, this is gone. All right, no different than a car wreck. All this is gone. But whenever we got there and digitized this stuff, we've got an accurate piece of information and actually historical value as well.